Good evening, Generate Talent back again, here to talk about some buy players, especially in deeper leagues that I'm looking to pick up to store on my bench that are going to give me a good push down the stretch, maybe early in the season, just to get me to that point where my big dogs can eat at the end. Whether the injuries, whether the storm. First one I'm picking up, and this is going to be a big contributor in Superflex. This is going to be Trevor Lawrence. He did finish number 4 in PPR last year, which is his highest of yet. Dating back to 2022, he finished QB 8 in PPR. So finishing 4 last year at 26 years old in 2025 is very impressive. He had 350 PPR points, 9 rushing touchdowns on the ground, almost 400 rushing yards, with 4,000 passing, 29 and 12. So Trevor Lawrence, I think, has turned the corner, and health being a big contributor here. Coming off of the last 2 seasons of 10 games and 16, finally finished with 17, a full season, and rewarded us greatly with that, with the fourth best quarterback in 2025. He's getting all of his pass catchers back, at least as of yet. Brian Thomas Jr. is still on the team. But if Brian Thomas leaves, keep in mind last year Travis Hunter was hurt a majority of the year, or the second half of the year, I should say. Brian Thomas, they never really had good chemistry, so not a whole lot there. If he does get moved, you probably have Travis Hunter taking more of the offensive role, despite what's being reported. And then Jacoby Myers was just a demon for the Jaguars when traded over from the Raiders. So that was a lot of the second half push as well in those stats for Lawrence. So all wheels up for Lawrence. I feel like health has been the only thing really holding him back outside of his first year. Once he got to Doug Peterson, numbers got a little better. And then, of course, Liam Cohen now, who's getting a lot of praise, rightfully so. So Trevor Lawrence looking good. I think he's going to return another top 5 season with this added rushing value. It really makes things exciting. With him losing his college teammate and Travis Etienne to New Orleans, I think there's even more pressure on him to run the ball. Byshell Tutin's cool, but I think they're definitely falling back by losing Etienne. Going to fall more on Lawrence's feet as well as his passing. I'm all wheels up on Lawrence as a top 5 quarterback next year, which currently I think he's ranked 11th or 12th, below the likes of, again, I'm going to keep saying this name, below the likes of Jackson Dart, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes. So he's outside of that tier in which I think he very much belongs in, especially after last year showed that he could do it. Here we go. This is a sneaky one. Jalen McMillan, Tampa Bay Bucks. Mike Evans moves on. Jalen McMillan, now maybe some more work. So here's a little tweet I took prior to the neck injury. We had the neck injury in preseason last year for Jalen McMillan, but he finished the 2024 season as a fantasy wide receiver 1 in the last 4 weeks with 6 targets. You can see 7 touchdowns, which I don't know if that's sustainable. He finished with 8 total on the year in his rookie year. Last year was his sophomore year, so this is his 3rd year. He'll be 24 to start the season. But he, right when he came back last year, late last year, he split the snaps with Egbuka, actually with a higher route share with 50%. So while everyone's going to be on Egbuka heavy, I think this is a good chance to scoop McMillan, almost 100 picks later, or just a great value to get similar snap count. And let's just say McMillan doesn't break those 2 wide receiver sets that we need him to. Let's say Godwin's lucky enough to stay healthy, which I don't buy at all. I could very much see Egbuka and McMillan as the 2 receivers in there. Just Godwin's getting older, and that doesn't help your health usually. But yeah, let's say McMillan falls out of that 2 receiver set that we think he's going to earn. Zach Robinson, the new OC, led the league last year in 3 receiver sets with the Falcons, which is crazy because naming 3 receivers on the Falcons that I even want to go out there to catch the ball, I don't think I could name one. Outside of London when he was hurt, I mean, I'm good off Ray McLeod and Darnell Mooney. But so McMillan probably going to slot in 2 receiver sets, at least I'm expecting, and he's not valued at that right now. Everyone's looking at Egbuka. This is the big head fake here. Take McMillan with a lot of the value, and I think he could return in the same way. This tweet here says he'll be touchdown dependent, but I don't believe that's the case. I think he's a volume guy like prior to JSN's breakout. I think he's very much like that. Just in the seams, maybe 6, 7 receptions a game could become very fruitful in that Bucks offense with Baker Mayfield leading the charge. Another receiver that I like, which a lot of people aren't really celebrating this signing, is Michael Pittman Jr. going to Pittsburgh and the Steelers. I just think if Rodgers comes back, I think with Mike McCarthy, there's going to be much more of an aired out offense as opposed to what we had last year with Arthur Smith. I do think, the Steelers' rushing attack is going to be very basic. I'm not a big fan of Rico Dowdle. Um, James Conner's getting older, so what we see from them is going to be okay. But I do like both pass catchers on the Steelers now with Pittman and Metcalf. I just think it's a great window for both of them in a possibly changing offensive attack where we're going through the air more so in Pittsburgh. Tight end I love this year, and I've hated him most of his career. I haven't been a huge Hawkinson guy, which has plagued some of my seasons for sure. But T.J. Hawkinson, hold on, let me drop that real quick. T.J. Hawkinson's a guy that has been to the Pro Bowl, puts up big numbers, coming off a big time injury. So last year, we go to Buffalo Wild Wings every week, and my buddy Kyle, he's a huge Vikings fan. I look at Kyle, I go, Hawkinson's lost a step, eh? And he goes, yeah, he has. But then kind of had to remove myself for a bit and look at it again, and I think it's probably attributed to the injury a lot. They just restructured his contract. They want him here in Minnesota. Kyler Murray's now here. So I think this is a big bounce back for Hawkinson. Here's a tweet from Guru Fantasy World. It says, I'm honestly shocked at how cheap TJ Hawkinson has gotten in Dynasty. This is an 8th overall pick, a very high tight end pick like Kyle Pitts, my favorite there. He averaged 11 points per game in 4 of his first 5 seasons. Keep in mind a couple of those with Detroit. Just 2 years removed from a 95 reception season, which equated to almost 15 points per game, which was tight end 1 PPG points per game. Now he's outside of the top 15 tight ends, which is behind Mason Taylor, Theo Johnson, and we know J.J. McCarthy's not the likely starter. We think it's going to be Kyler Murray. So we're buying all the Hawkinson we can, especially at the bottom 15 price. Like outside of the 15 is crazy, and I'm scooping everywhere. I've actually kind of fallen off some of my Kittle shares, so this is nice to get a couple years younger and possibly very similar production to Kittle. And last but not least, loving this guy, Jonathan Brooks, the top pick in the top running back pick, and I believe the 23 draft, it was him, then Benson. I'm still very much a believer, still only 23 years old. It's like he hasn't really missed anything being out 2 full years. Carolina's even almost cleared the backfield for him. His competition is Chuba Hubbard and Trevor Etienne, who let that ball bounce off his face in the playoffs on the return. So not worried about Etienne's little brother. Not really worried about Hubbard. Dowdle kind of wiped the floor with him, and I don't think Dowdle's that good. So I think this is Jonathan Brooks' backfield. As long as he stays healthy, I don't know if they're going to give him the heavy workload that he deserves just because of the couple injuries. Let him get acclimated to the game. But I think down the stretch, when you need him in the playoff weeks, he's going to be hyped and charged, getting the lion's share of the work. I'm buying Jonathan Brooks everywhere I can, especially as the hype starts to build, I think, closer to the season with more of the coach speak and talking about how great he is. I know they just said he hit 21 miles per hour on the treadmill, which I guess that sounds high, but when Brees Hall's hitting like 23, it's a different speed. But I like where Jonathan Brooks is at. I like the value. I'm buying here. So closing out the video, we have Trevor Lawrence. We're buying for sure. Top 5 possible quarterback once again. Jalen McMillan, I think, is just a great spot. Everyone's looking at Ibuka, so that's the ultimate head fake. We're going Jalen McMillan. Michael Pittman, I think, is going to be a big recipient if we get Rodgers back in Pittsburgh. TJ Hawkinson, just a huge value. Outside of the top 15, if you're in a tight end premium league like me, Hawkinson is going to be a huge contributor at age 29 in a Kyler Murray-led offense. And then Jonathan Brooks to take us home in Carolina. Hopefully they're in games more. They made the playoffs last year. When you're in games more, we can set the rushing attack up. And I think Jonathan Brooks is going to be a huge beneficiary of that. This has been Generate Talent. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.